Hey, 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 welcome to another Valley Forged. I got another toy. Well, today I'm reviewing the Longer Nano. I have the 12 watt, but it comes in a 6 or a 12 watt. And I'm going to tell you exactly who it's for and why and what I think of it, the likes and dislikes. So let's check it out. So although Longer, I've been a huge fan of Longer for a long time, a longer time. Anyway, yeah, you can go way back in my videos. One of the first actual good laser I ever got was the Longer 20 watt diode laser. I absolutely loved that thing. I did so much work on it, and it just never died. The thing is just a beast, you know? But as my business grew, I needed something that would go faster. And Longer sent me the B1 40 watt, the 30 watt. The 36 watt was just absolutely wonderful. It was just like the 20 watt, except for I could do faster work. It was very consistent, had a lot of upgrades to it. Loved the laser, never gave me issues. You can go back to the reviews on those lasers, what I liked and what I didn't like about them. And frankly, there's no perfect laser, but it, again, didn't let me down like a lot of other lasers had. But then it's been a while since Longer came out with anything new. And I just, I was emailing them and I was like, hey, what's going on? And they said, hey, we're working on this Longer Nano. And I was like, of course, I'm going to review it. Well, my big brother, Clack Shack, got one about 6 months ago, kind of when they were first developing this. And so, of course, I watched his video. And I'm going to have a lot of similar, I'll leave his video down below as well. If after you hear what I have to say, somewhat different, you want to learn more, I would suggest watching his video as well. I got the Pro set. So I have not just the basic, I have the rotary extension and I have the slide extension. The laser enclosure was not available yet, and I really strongly advise getting it when you can, or you could do what I did, but I'm going to show you everything. I am not going to do the rotary and the slide extension in this video. I'm just going to go over the basic machine, so we'll just pretend we got the basic machine. Something that'll surprise you. I run a laser business, and I have reviewed like so many lasers. I've never used a rotary. It's just not my thing. So when I review the rotary for the Nano Pro, will be my first time using a rotary, and that's going to be a lot of fun. Because I actually see the use of having a rotary for this machine. So if it works right, then I'm going to really kind of have a reason to learn how to use a rotary. Because doing custom orders is what I think this machine excels at. This is where it shines. And I'm going to show you that. I have pictures, I have video. We're going to show you, I'll bring some up right now, showing this thing work. So what is it? Is it, it looks kind of like a fiber laser or something, not a regular diode laser, but think about it as an actual diode laser, just like you would get in a Longer 12 watt or any other brand of a diode laser, say an X-Tool or something. Say it's a 12 watt. It's the same thing. So you don't have to think in terms of, oh, will this do something a diode doesn't? No, it does exactly that. Which makes it really easy for me because it's fully Lightburn compatible. They have their own software. I wasn't interested in that. If I'm going to review, like Laser Pecker, probably great. Not interested because they don't use Lightburn. I've spent all this time learning Lightburn. All of my files are in Lightburn. I want things to use Lightburn. That's just the way I feel about it. And that's what I actually recommend for most people, because then no matter which laser you buy, pretty much, you're already going to be set up. And in the long past, I was using a different software. And so when I don't have access to using those files because they weren't compatible with anything else, you know, so it made things very difficult. So I am a Lightburn fanatic, and this works perfectly with Lightburn. Another thing that I love is the portability, because that's why you get this thing. It is what I consider perfect. Well, pretty darn perfect. Where did I set them? Anyway, I'll bring up a picture right now. It's pretty much perfect at doing consistent jobs that are like personalized, right? You could take this to a show. You could do personal things right in front of somebody, or really, I think ideally you would have this in a kind of an enclosure. And what you would do is somebody would come up, they would write down whatever their thing was or put it in your computer. And then within 5-10 minutes it's done. You give it to them. That is perfect. You could set this thing on your counter with a little computer right next to it with Lightburn, and you could just type something in, hit the button, it's done. You take it out, you put in the next one. It has these little, you know, groove thingies you can see. I'll bring up a picture of that, where once you have that thing, the size of it, right, and you're going to do consistent one after the other, you could just set it, and then you just put the thing in, you hit the button, it's done, right? You know, you don't have to square it up. You don't have to think. Now, I did get one thing a little bit crooked. What I do, and I can show you this on the video as well, is you probably know how to use framing in Lightburn, or maybe you don't, but you can frame something in Lightburn. Well, you also have the opportunity to put on continuous framing, and then you set the power to like 5%, and that's not enough to cause any harm. At least I haven't noticed it. It hasn't marked anything, hasn't done anything. So I just let that continuously go around, and I get it perfect. And then you can take these little feet thingies and cinch them down, and then now you're done, right? So the focus is a little button on the top of it, and you just hit that, and then you just bring there's an up and down button in the back, and all you do is push up or down until the two lasers meet, and then you're focused. It also comes with a ruler you can use as a focus gauge in case you want to. One thing I'm going to remind you right away is take off the lens cover. I totally forgot. I'm like, the thing doesn't work. I had the lens cover on. So something to remember if you get it. So I have made a variety of things. So engraving, it engraves exactly like you would think a 12-watt laser does. Extremely precise. Again, like I said, I'll bring up the pictures. I have done this in pretty much every laser, and you can see the readability, because a lot of times you just can't even tell it's an A barely, only on one or two of them. But in this one, it's very clear. It's very clean. It does a good job. It's fairly quick, especially for a 12-watt, right? Because the laser head doesn't have to move around. It's in one spot, which does make things interesting. So I cut this. This is 3mm cherry. Cuts it out just fine, like a 10-watt laser would, right? It does exactly that. It cut just fine. No excessive burning or anything. It's just great. And so you can consistently do this over and over and over again. So you can make coasters or whatever and personalize them, whatever you wanted to do. And I'm using hardwood, which of course I got from Craft Closet. And what I wanted to tell you is that because the diode laser is in the center and all it's doing is like a fiber laser, you know, it's just pointing around. Now, picture what that would do when you cut something out. It does one of these, doesn't it? A little bit. Just a little bit. So the edges, the top edge of it will actually be slightly smaller than the outside edge. which so it gives it that little pyramid, which feels really cool when you cut something out. So for a coaster or some little thing just like this, it's kind of cool because you don't get a flat cut, you get a pyramid cut. But you really have to think about that, of whether that works or not from what you're doing, if you want to use it to cut things out. So you can't get it through on one side because it's a pyramid cut. You'd have to put it through the other side to make it fit. And I think that's kind of hilarious, but I've never seen anything like that. And you should know that. That's one of the things I wanted to pass on. Now, these keychains that I did, I got them from Amazon. I'll bring up a picture of them. I tried to make keychains for a local store, which I did, and they're wonderful. They look actually slightly better than these that I get from Amazon, but for the time and the money and just the overall work, there's really no way to do it cheaper than these, and they're great. They're great. Everything, they are made well. They look good. The time and energy it takes to put something like this together, there's just no way that I could do it. So this machine is actually perfect for doing personalized keychains. That is just perfect. And if you have anodized things that you want to buy off Amazon, there's like tons of them. Here, I'll bring up one of the cards. You know, this is a really easy thing. Say you wanted to do dog tags or actual tags for a dog or dog tags, either one, personalized at a show or personalized online. Say you have Etsy, people order dog tags and you just personalize them and send them out. Literally, you could have like a 3-foot by 3-foot table fully set up and just be popping these things out, throwing them in the mail. Done. It's nice little business just making small personalized things. And, you know, I will tell you later, I don't want to bring that up now as far as the rotary extension, because that might be an awesome way of just doing personalized tumblers and glasses and things like that, and just being able to just do it right there. No setup, no nothing. It's already set up. Just leave it like that. Yeah, you sell like 1 or 2 kinds of tumblers only. I'd say 1 kind if you're doing personalized for this, and you just leave it set up and you throw that tumbler in there, you personalize it, you stick it in the mail, done. That's the kind of business where I think this would really, really shine. Take up very little space, and you'd just be able to knock this stuff out. The engraving is very, very precise. So once you get that down, it's very precise and it looks really good. So I'm all over the place with this, but I'm going to have a little fun. It's my channel, whatever. The setup was easy. There really isn't a lot to say about that. It's set up the way like the red wire goes where the red is and the green wire goes where the green is, and it's like super, super easy. But if you get the whole pack, like this pack, the Pro Pack, then it's a little more difficult because they have so many different little things in one box that you could get confused of what goes with what. And that's the only thing that I would say is like, you know, I will try the slide extension. I've never been a big fan of slide extensions, but they sent it to me. I feel it is, you know, my duty to actually try it. I've never used a slide extension for anything before. It would allow you to do slightly bigger things. So I will try that. But the rotary extension, like I said, I've never used them before, but I can see how that would be a cool little thing just to have in your shop already set up, ready to go. That's all it does. And then you can free up your other equipment to do whatever you wanted to do, or if you did them at a show. There are quite a few little videos on how to set it up that make it just super easy. So it's not something I would worry about as like, if you have trouble setting things up on certain things, I wouldn't worry about it with this. It's like they've made it pretty easy. And the construction is very, very good. That is one of the problems that I've had with these little machines before. I've reviewed both the Wayne Lux and the Sculpt Fun iCube. The Wayne Lux I thought was a piece of junk, and I said that in the video. If you remember, I asked the company, I'm like, hey, this isn't that great, and I'm going to say so on my video. And they're like, yeah, well, release it anyway. So I did. The Sculpt Fun iCube I thought was far better. It's kind of like in the middle of these, but it's still kind of cheap, you know? But it did the job. Whereas I think this is much, much higher quality, and it feels like a longer machine. I was kind of worried about that, actually, that it wasn't going to be just some cheap feeling thing. It's not. It feels really well built, very sturdy. So I've kind of explained to you exactly who I think this is for. I don't think it really goes outside of that much, but if you have reasons that you think that, oh, this machine's actually perfect for doing this that I haven't thought of, then please put it down below. And I want to get to the negatives, because I think it's always super important to say, okay, well, yeah, it's all perfect and everything, but what are the things you don't like about this laser? And the first thing I'm going to say is that red cone. You know, when I first started looking at these, I thought, oh, that cone, it makes so much sense, right? I mean, you just got the full coverage right around the thing. But what doesn't make sense is that it goes, and it actually it does, and it doesn't. When you focus it, if you got to say a 3mm piece of wood, it literally goes all the way down before it becomes perfectly focused. But then if you got to move it or anything, you got to make it go back up. To take it out, you got to make it go back up. There are so many reasons why this just sucks. And I get what they're doing, safety and all these sorts of things. It's probably the way they got to do it. But I would ace that thing right away, which I did. At first I tried using it. Hey, I made it work. It works. But it just pissed me off. So I just put a piece of acrylic up against it, and it was just so much easier because I could just take it, put it on, take it off. It's like super easy. It did everything I wanted. If you've got a decent exhaust fan, you could just put it right there next to it, and it will take away all the smoke. I got zero smoke smell at all because I have a pretty good ventilation fan, and I think that's kind of a no-brainer when it comes to lasers. A lot of people try and use stock fans like this one. It's just, they're just tiny little fans. They're rarely going to take away all of the smoke. So I will post a picture of the one that I actually got because I've tried a lot of different ones, and I found a really cheap one that actually it certainly does suck. So enough of that. What are the other negatives I have? The price. Now, this will probably go up and down, so you can check out my affiliate link below and just see what the price is right now. But it's a tough one because it's a well-built machine, so you figure the price is going to be quite a bit. The basic, though, is $800. Now, I was just looking at the sale, I think, for the 40 watt longer, and it was right around the same price, maybe $100 more. And to think, I can get a 40 watt laser with, like, I remember the B130 40 watt has over, or just at, I think it's a little over 400 by 400 millimeter bed size. This has 100 by 100, basically less than 4 inches by 4 inches. That limits you so much to what you are able to do. You can also use my link to go check out the full size one because I love that laser. And so you kind of make a little thoughts in your head of like the portability and the small size and what it can do versus buying a full size laser for around the same price. And I'm a little biased because I make a lot of large things, and so I don't need something to take with me. But it does make it so convenient to do those little keychains and bottle openers and things like that, right? And if you do personalize things, which I do not, then maybe it makes sense. So just do your thinking and research and thoughts about what you're going to spend. And you never know. Maybe the price goes to a bit cheaper on this and it may make sense more to you. So you have to look at all the things at the time and make that decision for yourself. And I said before, the setup was really easy. It is, but again, if you get, I don't know about for the extension and the rotary and the slide extension and all that stuff because I haven't done that yet. But I know it all came in one box and I was very confused of what went where. But I watched the video on how to set it up and it took me like 5 minutes. This is not, like I said, it's not a difficult thing to set up. But now I got a lot of extra parts I got to figure out for the rotary and the slide extension. The only other negative thing that I can say that I really kind of tripped me out was the up and down buttons are in the back. So you can't push the up or down. You can't see the up or down button when you are moving it up and down. And I think if they had it on the side here, at least I'd be able to see it. It just feels better, even though it worked fine. And all you're trying to do is line up that focus. So all you're doing is push, but you gotta kind of go to the back and figure out where that is. And the first thing you're gonna push is an up or a down, which I don't know, wasn't a problem, but it just doesn't make sense to me. But that was really it. I mean, I've used it quite a bit. It was easy, fast, did exactly what I thought it would do for a 12-watt laser. If you were to get the 6-watt, I don't really know. I'm not one to really recommend something so with such little power because it's a lot of things you can't do with a 5 or a 6-watt laser. And also your speed, it's going to be much slower. So maybe if you were doing extremely fine engraving, that it might be slightly better. But I think if you're gonna get one, just get the 12-watt. I think you're just gonna be much happier with that. And we're gonna, I will again do the reviews on the other pieces and the full thing together as I've used it more as a unit with the slide extension, the rotary. But that's my basic thoughts on it right now after using it for a couple of days and making all these things and kind of figuring out how it works for me and how it doesn't. I will see you in the next one. Love y'all.